What's up guys, Drew Peacock here back with another video, and today I just want to start out this video by saying a huge and warm thank you. As gay as that sounds, thank you guys so much, each and every one of you. This Peacock vlog has reached 20,000 subscribers, and it's just insane. A few months ago I was at 1,000, back in July I hit 1,000, and I was just like, wow, I actually got 1,000 people who enjoy watching me. That's like, a freshman class of a high school around where I live. Now I have 20,000 Peacock Flock members. It is insane, okay? It is great. You guys, each and every one of you matter, okay? The comments, the feedback, the support. Thank you guys so much, okay? Again, this wouldn't be possible without you guys. I wanted to make a video yesterday. I didn't know I was going to hit 20,000, and I already had a few things planned. So, gotta treat the lady, gotta treat the girlfriend. So I'm sorry. Wanted to make a video, couldn't. But today I'm making this video clearly, and I am doing a Q&A after on a stream, more than likely. So I'm saying it now, so I'm forcing myself to do it because I really enjoy playing Blackout on Black Ops, and oh my god, that's just a different story. But anyway, today I'm going to be answering a question that I get in the comments pretty frequently, a couple times a week at least, and it is, Drew, I'm getting into cars and I don't know where to start modding. I don't know where to start on my car, stuff like that. So any variations of that I'm going to cover. This is what I would do, okay? I'm going to recommend what I would do. I'm not going to tell you how to mod your car. I'm not going to tell you, okay, for that car you need this, and then you're good. No, this is all opinionated depending on what build you want to do. I prefer performance, as you guys know. But if you're trying to stance it out, if you're trying to VIP it, if you're going for any of that off-roading or anything, I might not be the best person to ask, but this is what I would do personally. So, take this with a grain of salt. Don't for sure listen to what I say, but this is what I would do. Say if I went out tomorrow and bought a new Camaro, a RSX, an Integra 240, this is where I would start personally. So this is just to dabble into the car community and stuff like that. So let's dive right in. First things first, probably the first thing I would buy is an exhaust system of some sort. Now you can go with a catback, which is from the cat's back pretty much, or you can go with an axle back. You can get long tubes, you can do all this shit. It's all depending on what you want and what your budget is, okay? So on my car, I have a full exhaust system, long tubes, mid-pipe, all street legal, of course, axle back and stuff like that. I have a full exhaust, but if you're just dabbling into the car community and you don't know if it's for you, go buy an axle back, okay? Go buy something where it's pretty much just a muffler, just to change the sound a little, just to see if it's something that you like. Now, I personally love hearing the sound of an exhaust. I love being able to feel the responsiveness and just hear okay, I throttle down here and that shit sounds juicy. I throttle all the way down and it screams. Now I love that, okay? Stock cars, they obviously don't have that, and that's something that obviously they're missing out on. Nowadays you can buy those active exhaust systems like on the Mustang and on the Camaro and shit like that, but personally, a nice axle back is where I would start, okay? Just to dabble in it, and it won't cost you too much depending on what brand you go with and shit like that, but don't go get a fart can, don't do any of that shit. Just get something semi-legit. I'm not saying dump your whole paycheck into it, but get something pretty legit and see if it's something that you like doing. You could also probably do it yourself too, depending on the car, so that's also a big plus. Gets you working on your car too. Next up, the next thing I would probably do after that, and this would be either or, I'll start with one of them, but I would probably lower the car a little, okay? Stock ride height and stock springs and shocks is pretty high up. I would personally drop it, an inch and a half, depending on the car. Again, it'll vary and stuff like that, but just to get that nice fitment, just to lower your car a little, just to make it a little bit more sporty and aggressive on turns and shit like that. On my car, personally, I have Eibach Pro lowering springs. You can go coilovers, you can do all this other shit too, but I have lowering springs and Tokiko adjustable shocks and shit like that. So that's, again, what I personally have on my Mustang. I would prefer coilovers. Coilovers are a little bit more expensive, but I believe, I'm a fan of coilovers. You can also go on air ride suspension and shit like that, but it all just depends on, again, what you're going for. If you're not into the whole air ride and the fitment gang and shit like that, then that might not be for you, but lowering it will for sure change the feel and drivability of your car. A stock, floaty, boaty suspension of a Challenger, you lower it down and get some stiff springs. You might not be a boat anymore, you might be a jet ski, so it might be a little bit better. Next thing I would do after that would probably be getting new wheels, okay? Stock wheels, again, this is all depending on the car, can look pretty bland. You go and buy a new Mustang GT. I don't know why I keep referring to Mustangs. It's like, it's like I'm a fan of them or something. But you go and buy a new Mustang GT. The wheels look okay. You go buy the performance pack and they look pretty damn good. But, you go buy, my car, its stock wheels, were fucking hideous, and they were skinny, and you couldn't fit a really fat tire on them. So getting new wheels is a must. Now again, like I said before, and I'm going to say, throughout the whole video, depending on your style, depending on what you're going for, fitment, performance, that will all depend on what you buy and shit like that. You need to check your offset and stuff like that, and I'm not going to tell you how to buy wheels and your wheel guide and shit like that. But again, depending on what you do, look into it. You don't want to buy the wrong size wheels depending on what you're going for. If you're going for super fat tires, see what tires will fit on there. Make sure it doesn't look super bubbly. I put a 315 on like a 10 or a 10.5 inch rim, and it looks, I like that look. But I've seen like 295s on like an 8 or 9 inch rim, and it just looks super bubbly, and it doesn't look good. So check your wheels, check the specs, see what people are doing, go check some forums, and see, make sure you get the right wheel that will fit your application. Again, I'm not going to tell you what wheels to buy. You can do all that research, see what style you like, and getting a nice set of wheels and tires that will for sure change the drivability and actually the safety of your car. Tires are the most important mod that you can possibly do to your car. Don't cheap out on tires. Tires are super important. They rely on braking, okay? Hooking, traction, all that stuff is tires. So don't go and cheap out and buy some shitty tires. Buy some good tires, suck it up. Yeah, it's going to be a little bit expensive, but buy some performance tires. Get some Nittos, get some Toyos, get some Michelins. Just get something nice. Don't get those, like, what are they, Lionhearts or something like that. Those really cheap tires, don't do that, okay? It makes a difference, so don't want to run into a crowd. Next thing I would probably do is probably get some sort of aftermarket intake. Now, you could go with the drop-in filter route depending on, again, what you're going for. If you just want to see, if you don't want to spend a couple $100 on a full intake system, you can go with the drop-in K&N or whatever. But personally, I would go with an intake and a tune of some sort. At that point, then you can maximize depending on what exhaust system you got. You can maximize the performance there. You can maximize the performance with the intake and get a nice tune to, just put it all together. Tuning your car is very important. Throwing parts on your car is important, but, actually tuning it so your car knows what's going on and can maximize the usability of each part, that's where it matters. So a little intake and a tune, not going to spend too much time on this. You want more air into the engine is always good, more than likely. Your air to fuel ratio is important. You can go ahead and adjust all that in tuning and stuff like that. Tuning is really hard actually, so that's kind of why it costs a bit. It's a lot of trial and error kind of. But I'm not a tuner, so I don't really want to dive into all that. But getting a nice intake of some sort, getting one that will either sit differently further away from the engine, something like that. One that maybe has some sort of scoop system where it can sit right behind the grill or something. That they have weird things out there. For like, let's say an 02 Mustang, you can put it in the fender, which is pretty weird if you think about it. Putting a damn intake in the fender, but it's smart because it's like super far away from the engine, keeping it as cold as possible. So again, all depending on your build, depending on if you even want to go for performance or anything like that. Intake, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and say it's going to give you 30 horsepower or anything like that. It'll give you maybe a little bit, but I wouldn't have your hopes too high. Don't expect to, make a game-changing difference with an intake, or even like with a throttle body too. Throttle bodies, that's one of those like, they might work, they might not. Some people say they do, some people say they don't. It all just depends on, I guess placebo maybe. I don't know. That's a debate for another time. Drop a comment down below if you think intakes and throttle bodies make a huge difference. If you don't even know what that is, then, just drop down in the comments and just say fish. And lastly, the last thing I would probably do, you got to have a little bit of performance to back something up like this. Again, unless you're just going for some sort of style or fitment and shit like that. But I would go and top everything off with a nice cherry on top with either a nice wing or a nice lip. Okay, nothing too big. Don't go on Amazon and get the eBay special on Amazon. That's a weird thing that some people do nowadays, but I wouldn't go and get the double decker or the vampire wing or the park bench or the scaffolding. Again, all depends on your taste and what you're going for. I would personally, I like my little subtle lip, but again, depending on the power you're making and depending on what you actually do with the car, that's a big key factor in what you should get. Obviously if you're doing huge track days and shit like that, getting a wing with actual downforce would be very important. But again, all depends on what you do. So, but getting a nice subtle lip, that can change the look of the car entirely, and then from there you can go ahead and customize it, whatever you want. You could throw little stickers on if you want. If you're into that kind of thing, you could throw stickers, you could wrap it, you could dip it. If you just want to change the paint and be original, you can do that. There's, you know, pretty much once you get to this point, it's limitless. You can do like anything at this point. You can do little things, you know, you can throw the different lugs on, you can throw colorful lugs, you can plasti dip your badges and shit like that. But those are all little things that I didn't really want to include in this video. And again, obviously I'm not going to say, oh, supercharge your car. The first thing you should do, buying it from the factory, fuck the warranty, supercharge it, twin turbo, bi-turbo, do all this shit. Well, you don't need to do all that, okay? See if you like cars first. See if it's something that you actually enjoy doing. So if you enjoy working on your car, if you enjoy driving your car, these things will enhance that even more, okay? And again, maybe it's not for everyone. I know people that look at me and they're like, dude, why the fuck do you dump all your money into your car? Even my girlfriend looks at me like that and she's like, dude, why the fuck do you dump all your money into your car? And it's just what we like doing, you know, it's just we enjoy this. This is our hobby. You know, some people like sitting down playing video games for 12 hours a day. I do enjoy playing video games, but I would much rather be out there driving and shit like that. I'd much rather be out there working on my car. You know, I didn't know shit about cars before I bought pretty much my first Mustang. I bought my first little V6 and I was like, oh shit, you know, it's fun driving stick shift. And then I got into, you know, modding it a little. I threw some headers on it, okay, that opened up the sound a little bit. I didn't do a whole exhaust or anything like that. My headers were actually fucked and I needed new headers, so I got some shorties and I threw them on there. I put an intake on there. And then I was like, dude, this is nice, but I don't want to fucking dump money into a V6. So I saved up, bought a V8, and this is where I'm at now. So it is very fun. It is a nice community if you respect other people's builds and stuff like that. I know on my channel and shit like that, I make fun of people's builds and stuff like that, but I do it for, you know, comedy and shit like that. You know, I actually like some of the cars that I see. Some of the cars that you guys send in, I might flame the fuck up, but I actually, you know, I can appreciate most of your builds and stuff like that, unless you really fuck them up. But again, the car community is a very cool community. If you're just getting into it, enjoy it, okay? One day it might not even be around. One day it might all fade away. Cars might be self-driving and no one will modify them. It might be illegal to like modify your car. Who knows? I mean, the world is changing. The car community for sure in California is changing a lot. People are ruining it, and so it's very sketch to actually go out there and just enjoy your car. So but anyway, topping off your car with a nice lip and then just going from there, it's a good feeling. So if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and drop a thumbs up, drop a comment. What was your first car mod? I guess technically mine was shorty headers and an intake. I did them at the same time. I was under there anyway. So shorty headers and an intake on my V6, that was the first thing I did. On my new Mustang, I did some suspension work and shit like that. But I'm going to be streaming after this video, so you should dive in and say what's up, you know, even if it's just for a quick hello and then dip. That's fine with me. Anyway, until next video, guys, peace.